The TasCast Show Daily. It's easy, short, and fun. Enjoy the facts and the stories. Hello. Welcome to the 30th episode of the TasCast Show Daily in the Row. I am your host, Tassos Pardalis. Here I talk about data science, veganism, entrepreneurship, and comedy. Let's move on with the story of the day. So guys, actually, I just remembered the story I have from a few years ago when we were running group mates and we were awarded the most innovative startup in Scotland from the Pilot Summit. It's an entrepreneur competition in Germany, in Cologne. So we were invited to go and pitch in front of investors from all over the world, and it was fun. We met entrepreneurs from all over the world. We stayed in a hostel stuff, but the funniest part of this experience, I think, was that we met the winner of the overall competition for the pitches, at least. And how we met is Thomas, my ex-business partner at the time. He was looking into hostels for us to rent because it was last minute booking, and we found a room that where we could rent like 3 beds, and we rented the whole room, and we advertised that we were looking for a third person to join in the room. And then the guy, another entrepreneur who was attending the event, just joined the room, and he ended up being one of the most awesome people we met there. And he won the whole thing. He has amazing company and amazing pitch. I remember his company basically is customer service for any business that wants to give back to their customers. It's an amazing business. I'm not gonna say names now because I don't know if people are comfortable with me sharing their business names or their personal names or the podcast. So, but yeah, the moral of the story: just do random things and you meet awesome people, I think. Yeah, basically that's my life most of the time. But yeah, I'll move on with the topic of the day. Today's topic is about data science. I don't know if it's gonna be as long as the other podcasts because I haven't been feeling very well lately, and I'm gonna try to keep it short. But you know, when I start talking, I usually go a bit longer than I think I will initially go. So, one of the main questions I get, basically the main question I get every time someone asks me, "Oh, what do you do? What is your master's about?" The stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, data science," and they're like, "Oh, what do you do as a data scientist?" And I'm like, actually, the first question, because of my accent, is, "What are you doing as a dental scientist?" And I'm like, "Oh, as a dental scientist, I fix, I check out teeth and mouths." No, I'm joking. So, what are you doing as a data scientist? And I basically, one of the things I was telling someone the other day is, because I went to a hackathon as well, and from my experience working with other data scientists, plus what we do at uni, it's a lot of statistics, obviously, but the most, I think, time-consuming activity, talking to other data scientists as well, who are working in the field, is organizing and cleaning the data. Because we work with a lot of data, and so sometimes data can be very, very messy. Sometimes, most of the time, you are lucky if they are not messy. So, you collect data from different sources, from different machines, from different programs, whatever it might be. And then you have to figure out if they're valid, if there are any duplications, if there are any outliers, if there is anything fishy about the data, whatever it might be. And you spend a lot of time trying to organize and clear the data before you analyze them, because if they're not organized properly, and if they're not clear, and if you are not sure that the data is trustworthy, then your analysis will be basically a waste of time, if I may put it that way. And there's always the thing that takes most of the time, is this clearing the data and organizing the data. I remember I was working on statistics actually the other day, and I have I had like to work with a set of data that it took me more than a whole day probably of work to just take care of the data and figure out whether they're outliers, whether they are normally distributed. Because if they're not normally distributed, statistically speaking, it's very difficult to do an analysis, a statistical analysis, and all this stuff. And then after that, you have to even understand is the analysis I'm doing like commercially valid or just statistically valid? Because it's a statistical significance is different from real life significance. So these are questions that you have to ask as well as a data scientist. So these things take some time, and obviously the other thing is logic, business logic. You have to have a business logic to apply what you get from the data. So sometimes you have questions to answer before you collect the data, but sometimes you may want to create questions or come up with questions after you collect the data, because you don't know what kind of questions your data might be able to answer for you. But if it's data that you collected if it's data that you collected yourself, that means probably you have the questions already, and you already had you know what data you wanted to collect in advance. It depends. There's two different scenarios. But anyway, yeah, as a data scientist, there's a lot of pre-thinking and pre-working to do before you actually analyze the data and present the results that are applicable commercially. Anyway, that's some thoughts on data science, basic thoughts, basic beginner. Anyone could understand this, even if you don't know what data science is. I hope at least. And as always, guys, have an awesome day full of love, passion, and compassion. Subscribe if you like the podcast, if you like my voice. And yeah, leave a review. And I'm looking forward to get the first guest on the podcast as well. I'm having some conversations right now, and let's hope this is gonna happen soon. That's the 30th episode in a row. That's one of the main milestones that I wanted to hit. And thank you very much for being with me and listening, guys. Bye bye.